Good evening. Welcome back to the Bible Study Tour. Episode 31. If you haven't yet, then please comment and subscribe to my channel, Bison Judah Gaming. We are now up to 30 subscribers. Thank you guys for all your help. And thank the Lord, most importantly. It's been great making these videos. It's been exciting. Today, we are looking at Habakkuk 2, or Habakkuk 2, depending on how you like to say it. And it's titled Habakkuk's Second Complaint, which started in chapter 1, but so I'm going to start with verse 1, and then we'll go all the way to verse 20. Now, with that being said, let us begin. Alright. I will take my stand at my watch post and station myself on the tower and look out to see what he will say to me and what I will answer concerning my complaint. Section 2. The righteous shall live by his faith. And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so you may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright within him. But the righteous shall live by his faith. Moreover, wine is a traitor, an arrogant man who is never at rest. His greed is as wide as Sheol. Like death, he has never enough. He gathers for himself all nations. It collects as his own all peoples. Section 3. Woe to the Chaldeans. Shall not all these take up their time against him, with scoffing and riddles for him, and say, woe to him who heaps up what is not his own, for how long? And loads himself with pledges. Will not your debtors suddenly arise, and those awake will make you tremble? Then you will be spoiled for them, because you have plundered many nations. All the remnant of the peoples shall plunder you, for the blood of man and violence to the earth, to cities and all who dwell in them. Woe to him who gets evil gain for his house, to set his nest on high, to be safe from the reach of harm. You advise shame for your house by cutting off many peoples. You have forfeited your life, for the stone will cry out from the wall, and the beam from the woodwork respond. Woe to him who builds who built the town with blood and founded the city on iniquity. Behold, is it not from the Lord of hosts that peoples labor merely for fire, and nations weary themselves for nothing? And nations weary themselves for nothing. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Woe to him who makes his neighbor drink, who makes his neighbors drink. You pour out your wrath and make them drunk, in order to gaze at their nakedness. You will have your fill of shame instead of glory. Drink yourself and show your uncircumcision. The cup in the Lord's right hand will come around to you, and utter shame will come upon your glory. And utter shame will come upon your glory. The violence done to Lebanon will overwhelm you, as will the destruction of the beast that terrified them. For the blood of man and violence to the earth, to cities and all who dwell in them. What profit is an idol when its maker has shaped it, a metal image, a teacher of lies? A teacher of lies. For its maker trusted in his own creation, but he makes speechless idols. Woe to him who says to a wooden thing, awake, to a silent stone, arise. Can this teach? Behold, it is overlaid with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in it. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. All right, that is the reading for the day. And it was a chapter with a lot of judgment. All right, on Babylon. All right, now we shall move on to the explanations. All right, moving on to the explanation for verse 1. After Habakkuk gave his honest complaint to the Lord about Babylon, he said he would take his stand at his prophetic watchtower and wait for the Lord's answer to his complaint. The previous answer from God was that Babylon was his instrument to carry out judgment on the nations. Habakkuk wanted the Lord to bring his judgment upon Babylon, because they were a merciless and evil nation that was succeeding in building their empire. They were crushing and dispossessing nations and stealing land and things that were not theirs. Babylon was like a fisherman catching all the fish in a net. The fish of the nations. Babylon also dispossessed nations more righteous than they were. This is why the prophet Habakkuk was complaining. All right. Moving on to the explanation, verses 2 through 5. The Lord told Habakkuk to write the vision down plainly on tablets, and that this vision had not yet reached its fulfillment. The vision was of Babylon's destruction at the end of Judah's 70-year captivity. He also told Habakkuk that the fulfillment was quickly approaching, and that even if it seemed slow, it would surely come to pass without delay. God said that the nation of Babylon is arrogant and evil, but that the righteous shall live by his faith. This means that the God fearing man or believer lives his life, walking by faith or trusting in God. It also means that we need to stay committed to God, trusting and obeying Him at all times. God also said this to encourage Habakkuk to continue to trust and obey Him as His prophet, even though he doesn't understand God's ways. The Lord said that Babylon is also a wealthy and arrogant trader that is never satisfied. They are so greedy and hungry to make their empire as large as possible and to ultimately rule the world. Now, moving on to the explanation, verses 6 through 8. The Lord said that the nations would take up their taunt against Babylon, scoff at them, and bring riddles for Babylon. This is what the nations would say about Babylon: that Babylon is cursed because they have stolen many things from the nations and made false promises. The nations would rise up and make Babylon tremble. They would do to Babylon what Babylon had done to the nations, which was making them the spoil and plunder. The remnant of the nations would plunder Babylon because they had plundered countless nations and had killed many people in all those nations. God would bring about this wrath on Babylon by way of the Medes and Persians. And the nations, including Judah and Israel, would be avenged. Now, moving on to the explanation, verses 9 through 11. The nations would say that Babylon is also cursed because they got their wealth by stealing other people's wealth in order to fortify their house to keep them safe from harm. Babylon also murdered many people for the sake of their empire and had forfeited its life as a nation. The blood-stained stone from the wall and wood beams would testify against Babylon. Now, moving on to the explanation, verses 12 through 14. The third curse for Babylon that testified against them was the fact that they had built their cities by murdering the people of the other nations and taking their wealth. Then the Lord said that it is not from Him that nations labor only for fire and weary themselves in vain. In other words, it's not God's fault. It's not God's fault that people sin, so that they labor only for the fires of hell. It's our own fault for sinning and listening to Satan's temptations that condemns us to hell. If we don't receive salvation from Jesus and receive His Spirit, then we are living for nothing, and our life is meaningless. Our works cannot save us. Only Jesus can save you by His grace. So if you want to have meaning and purpose in life, you need to receive Jesus' gift of salvation and put your faith in Him. Then you will receive God's Spirit that dwells inside you, and if you rely on Him, He'll do works in you and through you that are meaningful and purposeful. The Lord also said that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of God's glory, just as the water covers the seas. This means that everyone will see God's glory on earth. Indeed, they have already seen it in His creation. So we need to give Him the praise and honor He deserves. Alright, moving on to explanation. Verses 15 through 17. Babylon would also be judged by God through the other nations, because they made the neighboring peoples get drunk. So they looked at their naked bodies with lust. Because of this, God would make Babylon get drunk in his wrath and turn their glory into shame. God would also judge Babylon because of the violence they had done to his people Judah, and for all the blood, and for all the blood, and for they shed on the earth for the sake of their empire. They would be terrified by the beast that killed the people of Judah during the siege. Alright, moving on to the final explanation, verses 18 through 20. The Lord ends this chapter asking a rhetorical question about idols. He asks, what profit is an idol when its maker has shaped it? The obvious answer is it does not profit. The Lord means that Babylon's idol is their pride, and that their trust is the empire they have built. An idol worshiper trusts in their own creation, which cannot speak, teach, or do anything. Babylon's idol pride and their achievements would not profit them, because God would humble them severely and would destroy their great empire. Babylon trusted in their own works, which are temporary, have no life, and cannot save. Since we are sinners, we have no spiritual life in us. Neither do our works have life, even if they are good intentions. The only works that have meaning are the ones we perform after being saved. God's Spirit does the work in us and through us. Our pride is just like a wooden idol overlaid with silver and gold. It cannot teach. Our pride only leads to our spiritual death. Our works are worthless, and our pride cannot save us from the eternal wrath. The Lord is the only true God. He is sovereign over everything. He alone deserves all the glory, because he is God, and is perfect in every way. We are mortal men that perish. So our pride doesn't mean anything except rebellion against God. Alright, if you need help understanding the second chapter, just I read the first chapter first. Alright, thank you for listening. And look forward to more episodes. I appreciate you guys listening. And I hope you learned something. And I hope it helped you grow closer in your relationship with God. Alright, thanks. And God bless you all. All glory be to Christ. Good night.